Hello everybody, we are stood by Willowfield Station and it's time to do secrets of Stepford Connect. Here we are at Willowfield Station, a nice sort of suburban but sort of quaint terminus station in the town of Willowfield. And it's one of few stations, if not the only one, to have a sign welcoming you to the town/city that you're in. And it's also one of two stations to have an IKEA, the other one most recently being on Cambridge Street Parkway, but more about that in the Secret of the Waterline video. It's also the only station to have a standalone clock, for those who are wondering, and of course, it is Matt Camley's favourite station. We're here at Hendon Park Station, a relatively quiet station in the Beachley area, I suppose. I consider it Beachley, I suppose. We all know about Beachley Royal Upholstery House, and of course it's having Borough in its name, but it also has a stadium. The actual station resembles Hampden Park, and ironically, considering Hampden Park is Celtic ground, it actually has Hampden Park Rangers, with Rangers being another club in Glasgow, as Train Stuff once said in its video. Except that's wrong. Hampden Park Rangers actually resembles Queen's Park Rangers in London. Here we are, stood beside Stepford Victoria Station, probably the most useless station in the entirety of Stepford, because up there is Stepford Central Station, which, from Stepford Victoria, is 2 stations away, those being Financial Quarter and City Hospital, of course. But in reality, it's actually quicker to walk from Victoria to Stepford Central. And I think they should close the station entirely, with Financial Quarter being the terminus, being a lot further away from Stepford Central. I'm here at one of my new favourite stations, Financial Quarter. There goes a Class 357, which is one of my favourite things about the station, just being down the concourse and seeing the trains depart from up there. But, yeah, there isn't too many secrets about it, except for it quite clearly resembling the DLR, with its LED signings, and it just looked LED signs, and it just looking like a DLR station. And whoa, here's a Class 68 for you. The only time I ever really see 68 is actually in the depots. I don't see them being used that often because they're the pro trains. But yeah, it's one of only 2 stations in the entirety of SER to be over water. The other one being, of course, Eden Cape. We're here at City Hospital, one of probably many stations to still have light blue and grey information boards resembling the old look of Stepford Connect before 1.5 was released. There's City Hospital, of course, which this station's serving, which is probably why it's step 3. But did you know the buildings actually spell NHS if you look from a certain point? I don't know what the point is, or if I can even show you properly, but I'll find something somewhere. I'm sorry about the bunch of people I'm blocking right now, but I'm trying to get this NHS thing to go and shut. There's the H and the S. And then part of the N. Yeah, this will take a few tries, but I've got the method down. And there it is. There you go. There's your NHS, yeah. I'm here at Stepford Central. Probably one of the easiest places to find Airlink trains. It's the only place with a map of SER. And yeah, it doesn't really have... And it's also one of few stations which resembles more than one station with the Central Mall, somewhere down there, representing Manchester Piccadilly, but the platform layout representing London Waterloo. And it's also one of only 2 stations to have a lounge. There's also a piano there. I might play some of it. Stepford East. It's huge, it's so capacious inside, and it's based off London Bridge with escalators everywhere up to the platforms, which look exactly the same as they have done for many years. But enough on them. What I want to show you is that there's actually 2 other exits, and while this one is getting tons and tons of funding and looks beautiful, the other 2 are just very, very outdated and rather sort of, yeah, not very good. Just look at this. So under-detailed. So under-teaselled. Well, the other one is getting so much funding. These other entrance exits are being left to rot. We're here at the recently renovated Waifu Lido, which now officially has a leader. So there you are. Okay. And it also feels like it's closer to Stepford than Whitefield itself. Stepford UFC feels like a pretty nothing station, and it doesn't really have any secrets at all, but it's the other one of the two stations to have a football stadium beside it, the other one of course being Hendon Park. Okay, this one isn't really a secret anymore and more of a fun fact that SCR people know, but if you go down this access path, but yeah, you can get all the way to the end of Whitefield sidings, and you get to this bit, which I think everyone knows exists now. This here says Matty was here, but this is where it ends. Of course, there's also Woodhead Lane, named after Charlie and Scar RBX, Charlie Woodhead, and Horton Rake, probably named after Horton Foundry. And remember those those other two entrance and exits to Stepford East and how bland and outdated they look? It's the same as St Helens Bridge, but it's the entire station. It's also the most confusing on the network. Have any of you been in desperate need to get to Whitney Green from Bewley Park? Well, simple. They're actually extremely close together. Down here is a signal box, which is nice, down that ramp and stuff. But if you just take this walk up this road, you can see the backs of all the buildings, and oh boy, do they look ugly. But then, you are right, beside Whitney Green. Down there's Bewley Park, but up here is Whitney Green, and you can see it up there. Morganstown, one of the more popular stations in the SCR, and also one of the few stations that have platforms with A and B, those being 5A and 5B. The other one that I know of being Newry. Benton used to be one of them, but they were abolished when Benton was refurbished. As you can see, there's platforms 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, of course, but there's no A or B. Here we are, of course, at Water Newton. Tons of shops, but we're not interested in shops. This is actually based off a station, but the station it's based off, they inverted it. Yep, it's sort of an inverted, I forgot what this is actually based off, but it's completely inverted. Also, back in the day, we were thinking, when's platform 3 and 4 ever going to get used? Well, we're still wondering that, in fact, because platform 3 and platform 4 are still yet to be used once. They're supposed to be for Stepford Express, but Stepford Express doesn't stop here. Yet, anyway. Well, here we are at Rocket Parade, which is built now, it didn't used to be, but it's now built under a trench, just like James Street on Waterline, but it's a lot better, to say the least. But this and Leighton Stepford Road was pretty much the purpose of Wynn Street back when that existed. But, of course, Wynn Street was closed many, many years ago, and it's now replaced with this and Leighton Stepford Road. But, as I was saying, Leighton Stepford Road used to be the most major station of the Leighton area, but now it is not. It is now Leighton City, which used to be probably the least major, but now obviously it's probably might even be Leighton West now, not even Rocket Parade. Ooh. Questions. And back in the day, the Lynn Superfast and Stepford Express used to stop at Leighton Stepford Road, but it now stops at Leighton City. And you know what, just for the lols, I'm just going to continue the walk all the way up to Leighton City, then get a train to our next station. I'm here at Wester Coast, and while I'm at it, let's just comment about the elephant in the room. I wonder if they'll ever get working level crossings into the game. And also another thing is that in the version 1.8, Bantech, I think it was, lined out all the changes that were made in the entirety of the 1.8 update. But Wester Coast was completely forgotten about it, because all they added was this building, and it is so minor that it has barely made a difference. The scenery is exactly the same, and the scenery was mainly why Wester Coast seemed to be the best part of the game for quite some time. Millcastle Racecourse. It was technically upgraded in 1.8, but literally nothing has changed except for the platforms seem to be wider, curved, there's kind of step-free access, but the lifts don't even work in this game anyway, and there's also big signs, boo-hoo, big signs. That's some huge change. But in reality, I think these Millcastle Racecourse massive signs are based off the ones in Aintree Station, with Aintree being near the place where Aintree Station being near the place where the Grand National is played. But have you ever seen behind these stadium thingamabobs? There's actually things there. You've got this, you've got an actual racecourse, and you've kind of got seats in white and cyan, which may be based off what the old Connect logo used to be like. Storylock might have the longest footbridge in the entire game because it's not down to these two platforms. It keeps going and it leads you up to this sort of seawall, which is cool, I guess. And that technically makes it one of few stations to be near a bridge. Obviously, you've got Nullshaw, Codderley, and those are the only two I can name off the top of my head. Here we are at Limward to see the ends of our Connect tour. And yeah, the other station to have a lounge, based off King's Cross, probably the most popular station in the whole of SER, blah 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 blah. Well, as I was saying, where you can like clip on the roof and it's really weird. Don't know why this bit exists, but it just does. Okay, goodbye.